Yo, what is happening, everyone? How you doing? Welcome back to episode something of the VR CruCast. I've got no idea.
Let's call it 20. 20 sounds like a good number. We'll just call it
20. I
20.
think 20 is right.
Yeah.
But Alex last week kind of called me out. He was kind of like, "You're just making that up, dude." And I was like, "I'm not. I think it is like, or was it 18 last week? Oh, I don't know. Anyway,
we'll call it 20 and we'll talk all kinds of shit about Alex since he's not here.
Yeah, exactly. In case anyone gets confused, it's not Monday. Literally because of Quest 3. I knew this show was going to be a lot about Quest 3 and it kind of seemed a bit pointless. Us going live on Monday, knowing that the headset came out the day after or whatever. So, or technically yesterday. So, yeah, welcome. Thank you for joining us. As you can see, we have a super special guest. We've got Lincoln Clay VR up there in the corner, and he is one of my oldest and bestest friends in the VR community. He used to be part of the VR Link. If some of you are really old school, you'll remember that was a really old podcast. And he's one of the people that he's got I love his opinions and stuff. You know, he's very into VR. He's spent a hell of a lot of money on it as well. He's going to tell you about it in a minute, I'm assuming, on sim racing. So yeah, and he's got the Quest 3. And I've been following him, talking to him about it. So he's going to share his thoughts with us, as I'm sure my other two weekly hosts are going to do that as well. First up, we've got Eric Masher from Q2C VR Gamer. How you doing, dude?
What's up, fellas? It's good to be here. It's good to be back. Seems like it's been a little while.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, I guess it's been a week and a half. But just so much happens in between. It feels like months have gone by.
Happening? What happened? Was there something big to happen this week? What happened?
A lot's been happening in my world. Next up, we got Sadliest Bradley with an absolutely outrageous t-shirt. How you doing, man? You good?
Yeah. You made me scared that I put something on that was even more.
Is that banana skins? What's going on with the t-shirt?
Okay, so it's from Spy X Family. It's blurry now, but it's just the Anya and all them together in the park.
You got the coolest shit, mate. You got the coolest shit. I love it.
Agreed.
I'm so into basically only really two colors in neon, and that's blue and pink. I would love the rainbow, but like it's the first thing my daughter did when she come in and saw those light stands. She was like, rainbow, and I was just like, we're not having rainbows.
Those light stands are sick though. I love those things.
They are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like industry ones that you can hang on walls and stuff. And I was like, yeah, they'll do. I just wanted something to give me a bit of a background. And I've been wanting them for ages because they are my two favorite colors. So yeah, thank you to everyone joining in the chat. Sure enough, I'm pretty sure this show is going to be a hell of a lot on Quest 3 because people will be going hands on. So yeah, I'm going to let Lincoln Clay lead out on his thoughts, and if you give us a bit of a background as well, because he's in his background he's gone from Quest Pro. I think that is one of your favorite headsets, I believe. Lincoln is your Quest Pros.
I'll prove it.
He'll prove it. He's got two of them.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll show you my kids.
Kids.
Calls him his kids.
Yeah, here's
Nice.
a couple of them. Here's a couple of them right here,
dude. Nice.
along with my Quest 3.
Nice, man. Nice. So you're like yesterday when you was live, I was a bit like, be prepared to sell them pros, and you were like, nah, man.
No.
But yeah, this is while he was doing his little unboxing. So
Lincoln, I remember when you got that Quest Pro, like I think like there was not a lot of people that were liking the Quest Pro, and I was like one of them out there. I was like, you know what, I like this headset. I wouldn't recommend people really go out and buy it for the price it was. And I think like GT, you said you really liked it too. And Lincoln, I think you messaged me at one point, we're like, should I go get this Quest Pro? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I think I love it. It's a really good headset. And I think then you went and got it, right? And you just fell in love with it. You got two of them.
You know, you and I had a couple of conversations. It started with the DPVR when you did a review of that. And you were saying, you know, explore different headsets. And when I decided on the Pro, it wasn't premeditated. I was in Best Buy and I just kept walking past it and just looking at it. And then it just got me. And so I bought it. Brought it home, and then as far as like the Quest 2 part of it goes, the games didn't look any different than the Quest 2, but once I plugged it up to that PC, oh my goodness. So, but a little bit of background about myself. I've been in YouTube since 2017, and I started out with the silly console war stuff, and then I slowly transitioned over to VR because my son wanted a PlayStation VR. And so long story short, that's what got me into VR. And then I started, searching for channels to watch, and I came across, Brian Paul, PSVR Frank. There was another guy, Mitsuons. I don't
Oh
know whatever
yeah.
happened to him. And then I discovered Gamertag, and I latched on to him because I think he's very family friendly, and
Aw.
he was taking invites from the audience, and I jumped in with him and was playing uh Omega Wipeout Omega.
Oh,
So
dude, what a
yeah, we were
game!
playing that. Yeah,
What a game!
and so from there, Gamertag gave me a spot on the VR link, and to me, it started a relationship with the UK that I absolutely love. I mean, um, the UK may not represent the biggest percentage of my audience, but they definitely have the loudest voice. I mean, I get so much interaction from the UK that sometimes I think 100% of my audience is from the UK. They showed me so much love, and then through the VR link, I met Ham VR. Although he started out heckling me, um, but we've formed a bond, and I talk to him every day. We watch sporting events together, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So you're really big into sim racing, like Ham, aren't you?
Yeah, he's the one that I was already intrigued with sim racing and VR, but what happened was when I started hanging out with him and Salsa were kicking my ass on the racetrack, and I decided it was time to start upgrading. So I would call Ham up and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting this rig," and he was like, "No, go for the aluminum." And I'm like, "Well, I'm thinking about getting this wheelbase. No, go for the CL DD." Next thing you know, instead of getting the mid-range stuff, I ended up going straight to the top and getting all top of the line equipment. So I've sunk a lot of money into sim racing.
How much
Um,
was it? How much you told us before
Oh
we went
man,
live? How much have you spent?
around $15,000. What started me down that
that's
route
awesome.
was that
15
the
grand.
games weren't very clear. So
Oh.
from there, I started upgrading PCs, and then I spent $4,000 on my PC with a 4090 in it. And then so naturally, when I got that Quest Pro, it was a wrap. I'm here. This is my destination. Um,
That's cool. And would you say that's more because of the pancake lenses than anything, kind of?
Yes, absolutely. Because I think when it comes to sim racing, especially when you try to play it competitively the way I do, clarity is paramount.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you were saying, and a lot of people say it to me as well. And I do race, and I actually do okay in racing games in VR, just like quite naturally, luckily. But you were saying, like, you can judge apexes, corners, like so much better because of depth in VR.
Absolutely. Um, so yeah. So for a while, Ham, Salsa, a few others, we used to get together for what we used to call ACC Fridays.
Yeah.
And I will say that because of sim racing, I've kind of become a prisoner of my own passion. Because
ain't we all, son? Haven't we all? Fucking hell.
yeah, I mean, I'm constantly practicing, so it doesn't give me much time to
Yeah.
play other games.
Yeah.
And so enter Quest 3,
Yeah.
it's almost like I've rediscovered, VR all over again.
Talk to me, son. Talk to me. This is why you're here. Tell me. So what have you done with Quest 3? Like, skip the unboxing. Tell me about the stages that you went through with it quickly, please.
Well, I tried the encounter, the first encounter.
Oh, the mixed reality game. Yep.
Yeah. And
because we were talking about lighting, weren't we? We were talking about lighting,
Mhm.
and I said to you in the live chat, I was like, I bet you can read your messages on YouTube, and you
oh,
started.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That part right there. So I wear, the glasses that I'm wearing right here are about 1.75. And then when I need to read stuff on my phone, I've got to use these telescopes, which are about 3.25. When I put on the Quest 3, I was still able to read the text on my computer and my phone, with my regular glasses.
Fun fact, there's a YouTuber called Awaken Toast, and I've met him in person. He's got very, very thick lenses glasses, the ones that make your eyes look really big and stuff. And
you can't drive, actually.
Yeah.
Is that bad? Can't legally drive.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's crazy. But the reason he started loving VR so much is because suddenly he could see clearly without his glasses, kind of thing. And he was just like, oh, wow, this is amazing. So suddenly he could see clearly. And I just thought, do you know what? Fuck. I never, ever considered something like that. I never thought about that, you know? So yeah, basically like, yeah, he's not allowed to legally drive, but in VR, he can see amazing. And I think that's so, like, I know it sounds cheesy, but beautiful, really. You know, that's his tie to the technology. So yeah. So anyway, sorry, you were saying about the Quest 3 pass-through and stuff.
So yeah, the pass through is just like everybody said. It may not be as crispy as they advertised on some of these ads that I've seen, but it is definitely a massive jump over the Quest 2. And it's definitely clear enough that I was walking through my entire apartment, looking at text and reading stuff on the wall and watching TV to the point where I almost forgot I had the headset on.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. So tell me about the first MR experience, actually, your game, first encounters. How did you get on with that?
So actually, I've only done 2 of them. First one was the first encounter.
Yeah.
And when I first saw it, I was like, okay. And then I started hearing all this breaking and I started seeing dust coming down, and I look up and my ceiling is starting to break open. And then this spaceship drops in there and gives me a gun. And then slowly but surely, all these fuzzy looking aliens, if you want to call them that, started coming into my apartment. So that's what sold me, because I'm like, these little sons of guns are invading my apartment, my home. So
That's
and they're destroying my home while we're at it.
yeah.
So before you knew it, before the game was over, I think the only thing left in my apartment was the carpet that I could see beneath my feet.
Yeah, because you actually shoot away the walls, don't you, at the same time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
Lincoln, you have a Pro, and you've had the Pro for a while, so you've done some mixed reality stuff on there, I assume, right?
No, I had no
you
interest
didn't
in
do
it.
any?
No, yesterday
Wow.
was my first time in mixed reality
Wow,
ever.
that's shocking,
I never had any interest in it.
Yeah, that's
So
cool though, because
that's what-
it's out there. I mean, there's probably, I mean, like Figment was that one of those that you could do, and like
but
I Expect You to Die experience was
yeah.
you
Why?
could do on the Pro.
Why didn't you? I mean, in some ways, I can see why some people automatically the Quest 3 puts you in pass through, so as Pro didn't. So do you think that's part of it? Maybe. I mean, why didn't you?
I think one of the reasons why I wasn't interested in mixed reality is because I wanted full-blown games and not tech demos.
Fair enough.
The other thing is that I live in a really small 1-bedroom apartment, so there's not much room to move around. So I'm like, how much can you do in this small space? But yeah, I tried it, and then today I saw a Paradise Decays video where he went to the gym and played Thrill of the Fight. And for those who follow my channel, I have got so many Thrill of the Fight videos, because one of the things that I would do is every year for my birthday, I would fight a full 15-round fight, because the challenge is, because of my age, I try to see if I still got it, because I'm 56 years old.
Yeah.
So
the ageless wonder, ladies and gentlemen.
This is awesome. I'm not the oldest one on the show anymore.
Yeah.
Lincoln, you can come back anytime you
wail
want.
on him. Wail on him, Mash. Wail on him.
Absolutely. So I'm older than dirt. But today I took a look at Thrill of the Fight through mixed reality, and I'm sitting there fighting, and I saw something out the corner of my eye, and with my peripheral vision, I saw a figure, and I'm like, how in the F did this dude get in my apartment? I looked over to the left. It was the referee from the game.
What the fuck? You think a referee's broke into your house?
Yeah, but I mean, the game also made my apartment look like a bona fide boxing gym, because there was a heavy bag hanging from my ceiling and a speed bag over there in the corner.
Dude, I didn't even know it had mixed reality.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't even know that.
This XR Update, the new news service, did an article. Wes Dillon did the article, actually, and he found 69 games that you can do right now that have mixed reality in them, and that's probably more. That's just what he found. I'm assuming the more, but 69 mixed reality games. Now, most of them are probably just tack-ons or little pieces you can do of a game. But man, if you go buy a Quest 3 and you spend all that money, at least you have something to go do, really. Like, I mean, because my whole biggest thing with this headset is, man, where's all the launch day titles? Where's all the launch day titles specific for Quest 3? So, there isn't maybe a launch day title that's specific for Quest 3, but man, if you want to take advantage, if you've never tried pass-through before, color pass-through before mixed reality, and you want to take advantage of that now, go check out that article and go find 69 games that you can get into. Most of them you
Yeah.
probably already own or are free, but you can go check out mixed reality. And so
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
out
this is true because something that I saw, because shout out to Skiva, he posted on Twitter, same deal, a list of games. I think that's the link right there in the chat. I saw 11 table tennis on there.
Yep.
I am going to play that once this stream is over, because one of the reasons why I stopped playing 11 table tennis as well as Racket Fury table tennis is because I was banging my hand up against the wall from trying to hit the ball with the paddle. And so I grew up playing ping pong, as we call it over here, because my father bought a table when we were 7 years old. And so I kind of hate to put it this way, but I kind of play like those tournaments you might see on ESPN where two Japanese guys are spiking the ball 100 miles an hour. I can play like that. Not as good as those guys, but somewhere in that ballpark. So I take big windups, and I was hitting the wall. With this mixed reality thing, I'll be able to play and be mindful of my surroundings. So that's huge.
Yeah. So tell me about what's kind of your over impressions of Quest 3 so far? Like, have you done PCVR with it?
Only now I tried NFL Era with it. That's really the only PC game that I tried.
Yeah.
I tried it with Quest Pro and Quest 3. And honestly speaking, I really didn't see any difference between the Quest Pro and the Quest 3. At least with that game, I still got a lot more testing to do.
Yeah.
So I can't really base it off of one game. But I didn't buy the Quest 3 with intentions of using it as a PC headset. That's what my pros are still there for, because through the OpenXR toolkit, I have the FOV foveated, eye tracking, and it takes a lot of stress off of my PC because I can keep I still have a clear view, but I can turn down some other resources and stuff like that. So that's huge.
Nice, dude. Nice. So what Quest 3 games have you played then so far? Or ones that you would recommend to other people, for example, that you think would show off Quest 3?
Red Matter 2.
Yeah.
So I've got Red Matter on PC, on PSVR 2, and Quest 3.
Yeah.
I didn't even bother to download it on my Quest 2s because I'm not going to care what it looks like. We already know that it's a jump. I put that headset on and I saw Red Matter and my jaw just dropped. I said, this cannot be standalone headset.
Yeah.
So then I quick put on the PSVR because I had all three games running simultaneously. So I put on PSVR and take a look there. Then I put on my PC headset because I was using the Pro. And it took me probably about 20 minutes of changing all these headsets before I finally started to see the small differences.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? Like, that's what happened to me even today. Like, I've been in Quest 3 for now, 5-6 days, and I was doing Red Matter 2 again, and it is like, you can't believe it's on a standalone headset. I think it's pretty amazing.
I also tried Population 1.
Yeah.
And
the frame rate, dude.
That ran so smooth.
I
And
know.
that picture was so sharp. So same deal. I jumped back into PC. And the PC version was a little bit sharper, but there's also a caveat. I was also using the OpenXR toolkit, and I had sharpness turned up to 80%.
Yeah. 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 So
I don't think that's quite talked about enough of, like, what this headset means for PCVR. Like, we've all talked about how amazing, or a lot of people have, about how amazing the standalone part of this headset will be, and it's a truly jump forward from Quest 2 to the Quest 3 headset for standalone. But to me, it's one of the best PCVR headsets I think you're going to find right now, especially for the price. I mean, at a PCVR headset under $1,000, to get what you're getting with the pancake lenses and the displays that are here, I think it's pretty amazing. Like, I don't think the PCVR part of that's talked about enough, probably because there are way more standalone players than there are PCVR players. But for the diehard PCVR player out there, like, there's some people out there that are still sporting a CV1 because they just didn't want to make the jump. It was too much for them to. It was too much for them to jump from maybe that to, like, say, the Valve Index, because it's a lot of money, right? $1,000 for the Valve Index. But now they're like, I do want to finally upgrade. What do I go to? If you're not going to wait for something like a new Valve headset, to me, this is one of the best headsets you can go to for PCVR.
Yeah, I think this is where Brad can come in, because I spoke to him before the show about what is he used Quest 3 for, and he's exclusively used it for PCVR so far. So let's talk to Tech Master Brad.
Oh God. Yeah. So let's preface this, because I'm kind of the opposite here. Like, I never wanted to use. I have a Quest Pro right here. I haven't used it in like probably 3 months.
I haven't used mine for like 6. Like I didn't enjoy wearing
Seriously,
it.
what have you been using? Just your Quest 2?
Yeah, Quest 2
That's
and PSVR 2.
crazy.
Yeah.
Over the Pro?
I have not touched my Quest 2 and since I got my Pro.
I know clarity is one thing, but if I'm in VR, I don't want to know that I'm wearing something all the time. And Pro is like someone fucking squeezing my forehead, and I know it's completely subjective. It really is.
I never have that issue.
Yeah, I know, and I'm really glad. Like, if you talk to Mike from the VR Oasis dude, he's talking like 20 minutes, and he cannot be in it anymore. And then you think, to get to 20 minutes of I can't stand this thing anymore, at what point of wearing it did he go, fucking hell, I can feel this thing on my head? So everyone's different, you know.
Yeah, I've literally live streamed it. I've done like 7-8 hours live stream straight, and to me, it's like, I know I've got a comfort option that I put on it, which is like a over the head strap that I put on. It takes the weight off of my forehead.
Yeah, I probably should have actually gone that way at some point, but I never did.
But to me, it's way more comfortable than the Quest 2, even with like the Bobo stuff on it.
Let's go, Brad. Let's go. Speak.
Well, anyway, yeah. Look, I'm a big fan of eye tracking. But like you kind of hit the nail on the head. I'm the same way, GT. Like, I don't like headsets that like kind of hover and like they kind of wobble a little bit. There's always that little bit of set time with it. And even like I got like I don't even know what this is called anymore. Forgot it. But the strap that everyone told me to get, like this little nice top strap thing, still just doesn't fix my issues with it. So I never used it for PCVR.
The issue for me, and I'm sorry to interrupt you again, is the dome at the front. They've almost made that probably to fit Mark Zuckerberg's head and no one else's. Well, I don't know whose forehead is it. I don't know. I look at it.
Yeah.
And who's got a head like I struggle with this. This is it. It's a hard bit of plastic. No.
Yeah.
And that's it. I get it. Where maybe like you could have thought to yourself, right, this is more of like a Halo strap design almost.
Mm-hmm.
But that there just kills me. My forehead doesn't go like a cliff. I just can't do it.
With the side strap that I have on it, there is like it barely touches the top of the forehead.
Yeah.
Like it really is the crown of the head that takes the weight, and it just kind of sits. It almost sits like a Halo strap would, or like even like a PSVR sits on it. For me, like the Quest Pro now.
Yeah.
With that over the head strap, like the one that Brad had runs from the back to the front, right, or the front to the back, right, Brad? So I don't know if that one would work as well. Like the one I have, it's like that wide. And it runs this way, side to side, and it just feels better to me. I know it's different for everybody.
Yeah. It's such a problem, isn't it, reviewing this stuff in that way? You need so many different things. But I'm sorry, Brad. Please continue.
Yeah, right. We keep interrupting you about the Pro because we know how much he hates the Pro.
Look, I don't regret my original review of the Pro at all. I feel like time has mended that wound for people that were upset with it. But anyway. Yeah. So going from Pro to Quest 3, I think as time goes on, I want more resolution more than some of the other things. And that was another thing with Quest Pro is the lenses. I've always loved the lenses in Quest Pro, but the lenses made the screen door effect way more noticeable for me in Quest Pro, to the point it was like actually more distracting than some Fresnel headsets. So yeah, it just wasn't a headset for me. So now we have Quest 3, which Quest 3, very similar optics. There's some definite differences. Like I noticed maybe some more chromatic aberration on the edges and stuff, but otherwise, it's the head HMD design that I like it on my head more. You know, the closed design. I like closed design. Even though it's not a very comfortable headset out of the box, honestly, for me. Yeah. Still way better than that. But once I got virtual desktop working with like the new AV1 codec and like 10-bit and everything, this is probably the first time, and I know it's very early, and so I'm always scared to make finalities, This is probably the first time where I feel like wireless PCVR is nearly as good as the wire for me, and I'm extremely picky when it comes to stuff like noticing color banding and stuff. So I'm very impressed with what I believe is the XR2 Gen 2's decoder inside. Latency is pretty good, all that stuff. So using it as a PCVR headset for me, really good. I like it, and yeah, it's really interesting. Now at the same time, I do agree with you guys. I think it's a really good $500 PCVR headset for a ton of people. But now I want to kind of get into like some of the other feature sets in my opinions, like early on. It's an overall package. It's got the mixed reality. It's got the new lenses, the new displays, and everything. And even though I'm very happy with this headset, probably more than any other Quest headset I've ever tried, like week one, it still is such a gateway drug HMD for me, because I get all these like it's like you get a taste of every single feature. And in my brain, I'm like, God, I want a high-end version of this. Like, I want a Quest Pro 2 so bad. Like, I want them to take what they learned here and apply it to like a $1,500 plus headset.
A jack of all trade headsets.
Yeah.
Yes, because this is a really good start, in my opinion, to do that. And I had to get that off my chest. I really want that. So
no,
anyway.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I definitely felt that in mixed reality.
I'm on a different, from a different point of view. I feel like, why couldn't they have put this follow through with the depth sensor on the Quest Pro? And why couldn't they follow through with that and this chip? If they could have put that in the Quest Pro. So I guess the bottom line is, if you take the depth sensor and that chip and put it in the Quest Pro, I think you have the perfect headset, at least for me.
Yeah, they definitely built the Quest Pro around the first generation chip. Like, for I understand, that headset was supposed to release in like late 2021, but obviously got pushed back to late 2022. But it doesn't matter. It launched the way it did, and I see that headset as basically end of life. Just the way I think Meta is going to treat it from now on in terms of like priorities and stuff. But it's really unfortunate. Because I again, it's a good headset. There's gonna be a ton of people that will buy it and enjoy it. But man, I want to see Meta even more now. I want to see the Apple headset even more now. Actually,
Yeah.
I want to see that headset.
That's
really
exactly what I said in my review. I was like, never before. Like before, we spoke about Apple, didn't we, and all that stuff. But this gave me a taste of like, oh shit, I might actually really, really care about mixed reality to see. Because if this is, as you said, it's a decent level. What is it like max level? What is that like? Yeah, I think it's.
But I'd like to throw this little tidbit in, coming back to the Quest Pro. I wish Meta would have advertised this as an all-around headset rather than an enterprise headset, because once the headset wasn't selling and they switched gears and they started selling the headset for $1,000, now they're marketing it as a gaming headset. I get the headset and then find out the lack of support for the eye tracking. I feel like if they would have advertised it as a gaming headset right from the get-go, a lot of developers might have jumped on board and gave it eye tracking and face tracking, because that is an amazing feature that was wasted.
Yeah, I said that in my review as well. Yeah,
in which I think we'll see going forward. Like what you're talking about, Brad. I envision that sometime next year we will see probably two headsets. I think we'll definitely see this Quest Lite that they're talking about, but I think there's a possibility of a Quest 3 Pro or a Quest Pro 2 or however you want to put it, because there's no way that they are not going to, because currently right now, besides the Quest Pro, they don't have a headset, a mass market headset that has eye tracking and face tracking. They want a headset with eye tracking and face tracking. So they are eventually going to ship another headset that they can hit a larger market with, that will have eye tracking and face tracking. They want the data.
I don't know
that
if
they're not going to give that up. They're going to put it in there somewhere.
I can't see a Pro. What I can see is a Quest 4 sooner rather than. That's what I see more. I just don't think the Pro thing will work out for them. But I don't know because of Apple Pro. I'm very confused with the Lite. I mean, Lite to me means they're just trying to do a very cheaper way of just chucking mixed reality at people to verse Apple. Because I mean, it'd be crazy for people to go into an Apple store and be like, wow, mixed reality, how much? Like $3,500, $3,000. And then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, for $299, you can have maybe not as good, but a pretty good experience on this headset. What do you guys reckon on that kind of theory?
So when I jumped in about the Quest Pro thing about the eye tracking and face tracking being wasted, I wanted to use that as a segue to ask you, what did you want to with the Vision Pro? Why did you want to try it? You know, because I'm thinking it's not going to have much support for games in terms of its face tracking and eye tracking and stuff. I think it's going to be all enterprise stuff.
So I'll speak on that because I'm not really much of a gamer these days in terms of VR. Like that's kind of some of the thing I've spent the most doing probably in Quest 3 is like media viewing. Actually, like putting up
Nice.
a video screen or something or my entire desktop. Quest 3, in my opinion, is not there for monitor replacement in terms of pixels per degree for text, but media viewing, I think it's really good. So for me, you know, I'm kind of thinking about like different lifestyle choices right now. Like, hey, would it be cool if I like started to live in like on the road in an RV or something, and like I just wanted to not bring any giant monitor anywhere. If I can hit that level, which I feel we're getting so close in hardware, Apple Vision Pro for me is like a no-brainer. Like honestly, I know it's like weird because you know VR is all about gaming, but for me, the things I see in this, it's like the gateway drug.
Yeah.
I want that extreme, and then I'll see myself using a VR headset literally all day, and I want that all day.
You're so right. So basically, when I did my review, one thing I didn't touch on is media consumption. I just didn't bother because up to this point, I mean, PSVR 2 was pretty cool because you could watch 3D, but that was 1080p splits, a 720 light or whatever, and it was nice for 2017, and then slowly it doesn't look quite as good. And then I remember seeing 3D in some headset, and there was quite a bit of crosstalk, and that used to really piss me off in 3D cinemas. You'd go in there and you'd be like, this 3D is shit. Like, I'm not watching this crap. So anyway, everyone was like, dude, like, brilliant review, but you didn't talk about media. And I was like, that is a good point. So I jumped in and did a video. I did Netflix big screen. Fucking hell, big screen is so good for 3D. I felt like an idiot. Like everyone was like, you got to see 3D in there, dude. And you can just sit in there and watch loads of trailers in 3D. And then I joined a room and they were doing Elite Battle Angel. And then I started talking to someone. They were like, by the way, I sat in there. Someone went, that's copyright. I was like, what are you talking about? He went, that's Gaming Tag VR. You know, that's blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I am him. And we was talking like me and this guy. His name's GT actually. That was pretty cool. And it was just awesome. You can watch people play like Gears of War 5. I was watching someone play Gears of War 5 on what must look like 100-foot screen in the sky. I was like, fucking hell, this is really good. And I felt a bit of an idiot for missing out on that. So
well, that's why I think, you know, that's why I think the Quest Lite will be viable. Like, you know, some people are like, you know, this seems like a waste to me. It doesn't make any sense. But if you think about it this way, if you could give somebody, you know, a $250 to $300 headset where you can do all these things on, you can game on it. You can, you know, and you got to remember, there's going to be so much hype over mixed reality by this time next year because of Apple that an affordable mixed reality headset makes so much more sense at that point. Because there are going to be so many people that don't go for the Apple headset or maybe don't decide not to go for the Quest 3 or can't, that want to get a $250 to $300 headset, you know, that makes sense. And then you can do all those things that you just talked about. You can do the media consumption. You can do, you know, editing, and you can do hang out in it. It's like, it's going to be a really light, comfortable headset. So, I mean, I think it will be viable for a lot of people. It's going to hit a lot of audience that we can't hit right now. When you can just go to the store and pick up a headset for $250 or $300, that is a big difference over a $550 headset up to a $750 headset for the Quest 3.
What I've seen in my personal audience is actually some PSVR 2 people, when I did the media video more than anything, were like, that's something we can't do and we haven't done. So that piqued a lot of interest, and I was very surprised that so many people... But then, as I said, before I did the video myself, I wasn't that interested. So it was one of those things, it was kind of like finding something out for myself, and then other people seeing it and going, "Oh wow, you can do this stuff."
It's one of those things that no one's thought about because the hardware just wasn't good enough for.
I think so. Yeah. I'm quite like, I'm not like you, Brad. Like you talk about lots of technologies, but I know a good picture, and I know what I want to see. And now, like my favorite documentary at the moment is called First Person Shooter. I backed it, and I was watching, like having John Romero on like a massive screen on this wall was just fucking amazing. It was just, I was just like sitting here working, looking over. I was like, wow, man, Doom is so huge in my room right now. That was really, really cool. So yeah, I'm really grateful that everyone kind of like asked me to do that, because it's something I've now discovered with that headset, which I wouldn't have ever thought about. I thought of it purely from gaming. I just need to jump in and give some, we had some donations earlier and I missed them. I do apologize. Thank you ever so much for sticking with us. We've got Virtual Steve with a $2 donation. Quest 3 for flat games PC screen replacement. I probably would play, I played, what did I do? I think it's virtual desktop you can do in pass through. That was pretty cool. What do you reckon, Brad, for something like that? Like playing your flat games in VR. Would you do that with this headset?
Yeah, I think if you have really good, like, I think it's good enough. Yeah, for sure. Like the visuals are good. I'm only worried about like, depending on latency and what game you play for that, but I think it's a good experience right now. Like just plug in a controller to your PC and just play flat games. I think.
Yeah, I was wondering about like refresh rates as well, because some monitors, people are monitors on like 60 hertz, so you probably get a higher refresh rate.
Well, so it kind of depends, I think, because I think a lot of apps just stream the display feed. We're gonna talk about Valve right now.
Nice. Let's do it.
He had to get it in there.
Or is a perfect segue, because one thing I talk about, and maybe I can explain it. So everything we use for Quest 3, we use virtual desktop, we use Airlink, whatever. Whenever you are streaming your desktop or any like flat thing to a Quest, you're always using like a recording software built into your PC, basically.
Yeah.
So there is some added latency doing that. The one thing I've always been kind of interested in and seeing a lot of stuff in SteamVR 2.0 and stuff is they're integrating what they use for Steam Deck, which is called GameScope, which means instead of recording your screen and sending that over the wireless stream, they'll be able to actually make like embedded compositor runtimes, which are much lower latency. So all that stuff that's like all that stuff like doing even just desktop viewing or flat game playing, all that stuff will be way lower latency. And I can really see a future where Valve takes like their Steam Deck and stuff and like allows even Quest users to stream their flat games at a much lower latency than they can currently with virtual desktop. Like there's technology that's going to improve that even further. And yeah, I had to rant about that because you guys are talking about it, and it's just
That's awesome. That's awesome. Next up, Michael Grant. Thank you for the $10 donation. He says, Quest 3 made me nervous for Vision Pro. Are we at the level of technology where we can have pass-through that is even close to grain-free, especially in non-perfect lighting conditions, even at $3,500? So that's a good point. I mean, I'm just going to say, considering how much this headset is, I think it is possible for the amount of money that we're talking. But yeah, what do you reckon?
I mean, Brad's probably the best one to talk on this, but I'm assuming that the Apple Vision Pro will be next level pass through. Like it's going to be pass through like we haven't yet seen. Yeah, I mean, Apple doesn't normally put out stuff that's done halfway. I mean, let's not talk about their iPhone 15, but most of the stuff they put out is really good. Is really good. And they do it right. So I would expect at $3,500, this will be next level mixed reality color pass through.
Yeah, nigh on perfect, I think.
I think I still so the main reason. Okay, let's talk about pass through my experience, because for me, my house, I didn't know my house was so dark, I guess, but for me, Quest 3 mixed reality indoors, anywhere in any room, even my kitchen, which is the brightest, not a pleasurable experience for me. So, and the main reason why this is a problem with Quest 3 is because the cameras, even though they're pretty okay megapixel, 4 megapixel per eye is pretty okay. They're very tiny sensors, so they can't capture that much light. So you need like big sensors, which are considerably more expensive. Now I don't remember if Apple Vision gave details of what megapixels their cameras.
I don't think they did. No.
No. But I guarantee, no matter what camera sensors they are putting per eye, they will be, because Apple's always actually, even with their iPhones, they've always sacrificed megapixels and focused on bigger sensors and pixels in their phones. Because I remember there used to be like back in the day, Samsung was releasing like, I don't know, like 96 megapixel phones, and they'd be like, well, Apple's on 12 megapixel, 60 megapixel. And the reason was people only hear the megapixel number. They don't know the actual like aperture and how big the pixel sizes are. So a lot of like the low lighting pictures on iPhone would have looked much better. And I think there's a lot more to that. Now, even with that, in my opinion, I have a Vario XR3 in here. It's got pretty good cameras.
What?
It's still not lifelike. Maybe my if I put like an eye test chart, I'm still pretty far away from 2020 vision.
Brad, is that the like the expensive 12,000 one? Okay, so
Yes.
that was
It's still the best demo I've ever done.
Yes, I was going to say that has been my benchmark for mixed reality, but I kind of honestly thought it was so good in comparison to anything I'd ever get close to. And I would probably, if I could really make it normal and average, like as an explanation, I would say Quest 3 is half as good as that, like in terms of graininess. But you're still saying that still isn't what you think it's going to be. Like, you think Apple's obviously going to smash that as well.
I think Apple's gonna do better than Vario, but so I saw someone in chat like, how am I already a snob for MR? Well, I'm a snob for things I want to use all the time. And if I don't want to use something all the time, I'm gonna be snobby. Like, that's just the way I act for things. Yes, we don't have many options, but maybe it's because I don't think the hardware is there right now in any headset for me to want to use it all day.
Agreed. We shouldn't be settling for mediocrity. I agree with you, Brad. Don't settle, man.
I mean, look, I've been doing VR for a long time, and even in 2016, I was pretty excited for the Vive and Oculus, but those headsets, man, if I try those headsets now, I'd be like, this is awful. I can't believe we're excited for this thing, like terrible. So I don't know. I'm very cynical these days, but I really do think like there's still a lot of steps we need to take for mixed reality quality. And Quest 3, sure, it's great for the package, but
yeah,
there's still so many steps. I want to see my hands without them going all over the place when I like
the wavy.
Yeah, the waving. I want that gone, which apparently Apple has gotten rid of that. So
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
there's a lot of things there.
Let me just ask you guys a question, because you all talk to your communities. I talk to my community. I'm seeing like a mix right now of people who have not done mixed reality before, who get into the headset and are completely blown away. And then there are some people that have not done mixed reality before to get in the headset and go, wow, this is kind of garbage. So what do you think now we're a little jaded, right? Like, we've been doing mixed reality for a while, so we prefer or expect, a lot better or a lot more. Now, I actually think the mixed reality on the Quest 3 is actually quite good compared to most of the headsets that I've tried, besides the Vario.
Is that the room you do it in though?
Yeah,
that
I have a ton of light. I have a ton of light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
yeah.
But yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, it's important that you have light, and we can talk on that too, like the light levels, because to me, with light levels, if you will get graininess if you don't have good light levels, but if you get good light levels, you'll have a really good pass through, and you are going to have a warping, effect to it. But to me, if you've been in it a little while, that will quickly kind of like go away. You know what I mean? You'll start to get used to it, and it won't be as bad. It happened to me when I started with the Pico 4. It really bothered me in the beginning. I hated the Pico 4, and I got used to it pretty quickly. And I do think there will be software updates that will help it as it goes. But, what do you guys think? I mean, you like I said, what are you listening to your communities? What do they say? Are people going to hate mixed reality so far like this, or do you think there will be people that are wowed by it?
In my case, I haven't had a chance to really talk to any of my viewers about it, because yesterday was the first time that I experienced mixed reality. So I'm still in the honeymoon phase. But
that's an important perspective, though. That is an important perspective as much as anyone else's, because there's going to be a ton of people out there that have just bought a Quest 3. I'm getting a ton of comments from people who are completely new to VR. you know, and that's their and by MR suddenly they're like, wow, what is this demo? First encounters, and suddenly, as you explained in the beginning of the podcast, the fucking ceiling's getting smashed in. Do you know what I mean? Like, that must be crazy if you've never had anything like that.
Yeah, and I think with VR, I think it took two things to get VR to where it's at right now. The affordability of the Quest 2 along with Beat Saber. I think in the case of mixed reality, I think the platform itself and maybe over time an affordable headset, I think that can make it go mainstream, because I don't think mixed reality is going to need that one Beat Saber type app, because I can tell you right now, I'm really looking forward to trying some zombie shooters in mixed reality, whereas before I'm like, oh, wave shooter, you know, but now I can't wait to try it.
That's an interesting perspective. Yeah, I played the cabin in MR, and that was, yeah, I was
So good.
I was expecting not much, and then sure enough, dude, yeah, when you turn around and there's a zombie in your space, for some reason, that's a little bit more freakier than just like in normal. I don't know why, but yeah. Yeah.
It definitely feels like home invasion.
It does, man. It does. Thank you to Kerman for the $5 New Zealand donation. Snappiness of the Quest 3. Curious how many people are experiencing minor Mura-like problems. Minor blotchy for me, but not a problem. Has anyone had anything like that here?
Like in the pass-through or in virtual reality?
I'm not sure.
I haven't seen anything, and I've done quite a few things.
I've not seen any
not that I would classify as Mura. I guess it depends on what they think Mura is.
It's present, but it's very light, and probably mostly when it's like an all white screen. So it's not like a PSVR 2 issue.
I was gonna say, man, I think that kind of like maybe my eyes accept it more, because I remember I still remember the first time I saw Mura on PSVR 2. I didn't know what it was. And I saw it before many other people because it was green. Mura head was green dots. And I don't know why they were green, like bright green. I went into Kayak VR and I was just like, is my headset broken? Like, this does not look right. And then the headset actually got an update like a few days later. And the Mura was still there, but it wasn't green anymore. It was like I don't know what color it is. Like a very faded or blacky greeny effect. I don't know. But originally it was green dots. And I thought, oh no, I've got a broken headset.
I hear Mura, different people get different results. And I think for me, with GT7, the game looked dirty.
Right. That might be screen door, though, more than anything with the Fresnel lenses, I'd assume. But each to their own, obviously. But yeah. Yeah. What do you guys think about going from Fresnel to pancake? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like how
I hate Fresnel lenses. Just that's what I've come to the conclusion.
That is one reason why I'm so glad about the Quest 3 having pancake lenses, because now pancake lenses, in my opinion, are officially the industry standard.
That's no good though for PSVR 2.
Exactly. So maybe another iteration of the PSVR 2, maybe it would get pancake lenses. I don't know, but I think the biggest thing that bothers me about the Fresnel lenses of PSVR 2 is that super small sweet spot, but it's like that with the G2. But that's why the pancake lenses was such a game changer, because once you get it dialed in, there is no sweet spot.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that. That's exactly what Mike said to me with his demo. I didn't even think about sweet spot. I don't know why. It never come in my mind. And he was like, dude, have you seen like the sweet spot on Quest 3? I went, no. And he went, it's everywhere. Like everywhere's a sweet spot. I was like, oh, okay. Like, didn't even occur to me. I've never really had that much of a problem with PSVR 2. Maybe I'm just very lucky. Every time I put it on, it looks fine to me. I never really have that problem. But yeah, like I remember going on PSVR 2 Reddit and it was sweet spot. Like, how do I get this headset on right? Why doesn't it look as good as what people are telling me? So yeah, that's obviously a really big thing. But
it's the OLEDs that save that headset for me. Like, I hate Fresnel lenses. The reason I like the PlayStation VR 2 is the OLED. The colors are so much brighter.
The colors are gorgeous.
It's just so good. Like, I was playing a game called Gazzlers, and if I play it on Quest or I play it on Steam, it looks good. It's a very cell shaded, very colorful game,
like Borderlands kind of style.
Yeah,
graphics.
exactly. Almost exactly like Borderlands. So it looks good. It's meant to be that type of graphics. So it looks cool and it looks fine. But if you put that on with your PlayStation VR 2 headset, it is like so noticeable. It's like a punch in the face when you put it on. Like I'm like, holy crap, this is so much better looking. So that is what saves the PlayStation VR 2 for me, is the OLED. So man, I'm looking for that combo, Brad. When are we getting that combo?
Yeah, that combo, man. That'd be absolutely sick. Do you think it's gonna happen?
Good combo. Very good combo.
I want to order that combo somewhere.
You're
I've
so
been
right.
ranting about that combo for like 3 years now.
You guys are so right. Like PSVR 2 for me personally, when everything is right, I think it looks. I still think it looks fantastic. I loved Horizon. Seeing that, it was amazing for me. I was like, wow. And then obviously, everyone then kicked off because when you smooth turn, it was jittery and God knows what else. But if you could avoid turning in it, it was fucking incredible. And Zombieland, again, I think that type of graphical style really lends itself well to those lenses, that cell shaded, bright, bold. When you play Zombieland in PSVR 2, that looks fantastic as well. But yeah, and I don't know about you guys. I'm like, I did a little live stream last night. And there was two things that came up a lot. One I didn't want to entertain, which was, what do you reckon's better, Quest 3 or PSVR 2? And the next one was, why does my pass-through not look good? So it was like, they were the two things. So I constantly kept saying, guys, you need to mess around with lighting. You need to mess around with temperature of lighting as well. And I can't help my situation. I've got lighting. So... and it kind of always looks good for me. Because the first time I tried pass-through in London, I actually thought the mixed reality like games run really smooth and they look fine, but there's still that background where it's still quite grainy. It was better than Pro, but I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's all right. Nothing to really shout about. And then I tried it at Connect, and I think with a mixture of daylight, white walls, nice bright lights, I was like, yeah, this is really good. So yeah, it's so different for everyone. But Lincoln, I saw you drop your head when I said about the PSVR 2. I saw you drop your head.
Well, not so much about the PSVR 2, about like kind of getting back in. You saying you kind of got back into a corner about people asking for recommendations.
Yeah, they want recommendations.
I will say Quest 3 has changed the way I would recommend things.
Okay.
Because I mean, I think I can say it right here. Now, I don't think it would be taken the wrong way, but if someone asked me for a recommendation, it's more or less how they come to me. If they come to me and say, I have a PS5, I want PSVR 2, I'll tell them to go for it. If they say they want PC, I'll say go for it. But if they ask me for a recommendation, I would tell them that if you want to stay in the PlayStation ecosystem, go with PSVR 2. If you don't mind shelling out the extra money and you want superior clarity, then go the PC route. But I think Quest 3 is, if someone were to come to me right out the gate and say, what do you recommend? In like 2 years from now, once Quest 2 is phased out, I will easily say Quest 3, because I think you'll get, the best of both worlds. And something that I wanted to say earlier is that I think that Quest 3 is going to be beneficial to PSVR 2, because once the Quest 2 is phased out, the Quest 3 now becomes the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
And if we get these lazy ports, as some people has called them, it's still going to look good given how given how Quest 3 looked.
Yeah.
So, and I also think that's going to speed up the port process, because depending on what they have to do, they may only have to put on one coat of wax or only strip off one coat of wax versus, deconstructing the whole thing and rebuilding it or something like that. I really don't know what
yeah, I feel
developers go through.
I feel like Hellsweeper on Quest is an entirely different build to PC and PSVR 2, to be honest.
So I think a Quest 3 build of Hellsweeper, the only thing they might have to change is the icons on the control buttons.
Yeah.
Just pull it straight over from Quest 3 right on over to PSVR 2.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, I don't know if Hellsweeper's got any updates, but yeah, that was the worst version visually.
It's much, much better. We just did a review on it in Virtual Strangers, and I did not play it when it came out because I saw how crappy it looked. So I was like, I'm not doing this
It was bad.
Because I'm not doing this again. Like, I'm fed up with games launching and looking like shit, and I'm like not going to push myself in there to play these crappy games. I did it with Project Wingman, and I'm like, that's the last time I ever do that. So I was like,
Project Wingman.
Oh, that was so bad, dude. I went in there and I bought that game knowing it was going to be shitty just so I could go in and shit all over it because I was so pissed off. I'm like, I need to go buy this game now, and I was pissed because I'm like, I know this game sucks. I have to go shell out $30 for it now, and I know it's going to suck, but I want to be able to talk about it, so I need to like know what's going on and look and see it for myself.
So,
but it does look way better now. Like, so I just want to
That's
that
cool,
point
man.
for
I'll jump
Hellsweeper.
I'll jump
Go
in.
give it if you played Hellsweeper early. Now, I'm not about giving the devs a break on this because I still think they did a shitty thing here. But if you like the game and you bought it and you're like, man, I couldn't get my refund, go check it out now. It's way better.
Do you know what they did?
man.
The shitty thing. I actually told them in person. I was there in the office and I said to them, "This looks terrible, and you can't release it like this." So it's not like I didn't go to the source, literally to the source of Vertigo, and say like no. So yeah, go on. Sorry, Lincoln.
No problem. I wanted to ask you guys, why do you think we only got a fraction of Project Wingman?
Oh
'Cause
yeah, like
to me,
six
the
missions.
game, like even the PC version of the game, like from what I've seen of it, it looked like a game that should be fully playable on PSVR 2. It doesn't look like a demanding game to me. So I was shocked when we got Ace Combat all over again.
Ace Combat's way better. It's like,
No, yeah, it's way better, but
love
I'm
it,
talking about
Yeah,
from
but
the
the
standpoint of that we
of
only
not being the
got
whole
a
game.
piece of the game.
It's bullshit, man. This is such. I'm just so. I'm literally tired of making excuses for developers who are making terrible ports of. Instead of making PlayStation versions of their games, they are just doing straight ports. Like I don't want to see a Quest port of this game or a PC port of that game. I want to see a PlayStation build of a game that you made. I don't care if it's a crossover. I'm fine with the crossover. Just don't give me the same ho-hum lazy port that you're going to give for everything else, just like they did with Green Hell. And just like they did with Project Wingman was a full-blown game on PC.
Well,
And all they did was bring over the couple of missions, and it looks terrible. It looks like a PSVR 1 game. Like, to me, I would have rather them just bring the game to flat PlayStation 5 and forget about the VR at this point, because all that does is turn people off of virtual reality. Like, if you're a person who just got your PlayStation VR 2 headset, and this is one of the first games you jump into because you're a flight person or a dogfighting person, you're going to be like, this looks like shit. Why would I ever go buy a virtual reality headset?
I think Warplanes on Quest looks better.
It's absolutely
Like,
100%.
so much better, which is crazy.
Definitely.
Which is crazy
Well,
to say.
the devs get half a pass with me with Green Hell because I played it on PC on a 4090, and the pop-ins were horrible, even on a 4090 with everything turned up to ultra. As I was walking through that jungle, plants were sprouting right in front of me as I'm walking forward, as if somebody poured magic water on them. So when that happened, I said, there's no way this is going to come to PSVR. This is going to be a disaster. So when people started speculating that we would get the Quest version, I said, okay, that should turn out all right. The PSVR 2 should have enough overhead to handle that easily. So
yeah, dude.
We didn't even get the Quest version.
The
To me,
PC
it was less than the Quest version. The Quest version looked better to me than the PlayStation VR 2
right,
version.
and that's why I'm thinking, and that's why I think Quest 3 is going to change that game, because I would like to think that if it gets a Quest 3 enhancement, it's going to look pretty good, and then they could probably just drag that straight over to PSVR 2.
I've still got a feeling, right, that it's still the calm before the storm for PSVR 2. I still think that good games will come to that. And we've got Resident Evil 4 Remake, and I know that's the one thing that everyone talks about, because it's at the moment kind of the only big game that I can think of really outside of the VR space that anyone's going to care about. Inside, there's actually quite a lot of games coming soon. There's going to be really cool for a lot of headsets. And I think that's one of the worrying things. A lot of people love to send me screenshots of PSVR 2s on sale. They're like, oh, when are you going to talk about this? I'm like, what do you want me to say? If I made a video about everyone selling their PSVR 2, how does that help? It doesn't help anything. It's just bad. And I don't want to make, I don't really, I do enough kind of bad when I have to tell the truth about games, let alone saying that possibly this headset is in trouble. I do think it might be in trouble. But I do feel like Sony they're just not they're not pushing it the way I thought they would, because PSVR in my mind was such a great headset and it had such a great amount of games. And then they brought this out and I'm like, dude, it's got headset haptics, eye tracking. Like, I know the sweet spot's quite small. I know it's got some Mura and stuff, but when everything aligns, like it did in Red Matter 2 at 120 hertz, you're like, fuck, this is really good. Like, you can see the potential. You can see they've made use of PS5. You know, it's like 10 teraflops in comparison to what Quest 3 is like 2.8. And yet somehow developers, like you said about earlier, Lincoln, somehow developers can make Red Matter 2 look just as good, almost on par with PC and PSVR 2 on a standalone headset.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've been shitting all over PlayStation for like the last for 3 or 4 months. It feels like, because it's warranted, because the games have not been stellar and some of the ports have been bad, and we've seen really good ports too. By the way, like there have been some good ports.
Yeah,
like Zombieland is a great port. Like I'd rather play that there, on PlayStation than anywhere else. The Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, I'd rather play it there than anywhere else. But I'm the same with you. I don't think the PlayStation VR 2 is in trouble. I think it's going to have a great season. As much as I'm unhappy with some of the games I'm seeing now, I'm very much looking forward to what we're going to play soon. So if you're thinking about, should I go sell my PlayStation VR 2 headset? No, I'm not anywhere near there. Yeah, just give it a little bit and wait. And just to remember too, if we're talking game of the year, some of my best gaming times I've had this year have still been on a PlayStation VR 2 headset. So if you want to rate how the headset's doing over a whole year's time, they only launched in March, by the way. If you want to, rate that, there's 3 or 4 games or 5 games that have come out that I consider possible game of the years over any other platform on the PlayStation VR 2. So if you are looking for some of the best gaming to be had this year, it's still on that headset.
Yeah.
They just kind of like have gotten into a rut this summer to where a lot of these games just turned out poorly. And I hope it's because they're holding a lot of these things for the holidays.
Yeah. There's so many. Sorry, Brad.
Oh, I just want to say there's one more thing I kind of want to bring up, since I think we're kind of finishing off the PlayStation stuff. But I don't know if it changed in Europe, but they just announced the PS5 Slim models for this holiday. And in US, the digital version is now $50 more for the PS5 than the old one. So
what does the Slim do apart from be slimmer then?
That's it. But I do think it has a removable optical drive, I believe.
Yeah, it's interchangeable optical drive. So instead of having 2 models, they're removing the old 2 model system and having one model that you can upgrade it with the disk drive if you want. But instead of starting at $400, it's starting at $450.
Which I think that was a smart move, because when the PS5 launched, I was looking for the digital version. You could not find them, so I was forced to get the disc version.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably just going to keep what I've got, to be honest. If there's no technical changes,
I would wait for a Pro or something. That's the only thing that I would do. PlayStation 5 Pro or something like that.
I like it when
they do it. They might not do it.
When Lincoln started out on this podcast earlier, he was like, I started my channel about, he was like Xbox console wars and stuff. If you poke him a little bit, he's still got the fire, dude, for the Xbox and the PlayStation confrontation. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my feelings towards some of these huge corporations, but that's not the place to talk about. That's another time. But I think a PlayStation Pro, my biggest concern about a PlayStation Pro would be parity. For games that have the reprojection on the PS5, will Sony give the developers the lateral freedom to, choose a frame rate, or will it have to be the same across the board?
I honestly think developers sync to that because it's easier for them to make the game run. Like, that's an option they have. We can make this game run at 60 frames and it goes to 120. And they're just going to tick that box because their game only has to run at 60 hertz. And most games now run at 60 hertz anyway. Like 60 frames a second is pretty much a standard now on most games. So I think that's why they go for that, because what you're talking about, making a game run natively at 90 is very rare in the flat gaming world anyway. And then you got to fucking make it run twice, basically, to work in VR. So I get it.
You know, and that was one of the, when I had some of the conversations with you about how I was saying that the PSVR 2 or the PS5 rather may be underpowered in some areas. I'm speaking of like flight sims, like a Microsoft flight simulator. I don't know if that would run in VR on PSVR 2, as well as some of the sim racing games that I play. They are super, super demanding. I even got a response from a developer in response to one of the games that I play in VR. And as a person that has a big background of VR sim racing, 90 frames is the minimum. If, you know, especially, you know, as far as native frame rate goes, it's got to be at least 90. Anything less than that, you're going to see some judder.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. How is everyone in the chat? Is there anything I'm missing because we're talking so much? Is there any comments that Brad? You're always bang on the chat here. How's everyone feeling, man? How they doing?
You had a $2 super chat from Paradise DK.
Oh, when he says,
"Will Quest 3 make Sony pull their finger out of their butts?"
I don't know. I feel like both feel that there's not really competition between them. I don't know. I don't think Meta really care too much, personally. And Sony, their main focus is flat. Like, there's no two ways about it. The PSVR 2, as much as everyone hates to hear this because they love VR so much, and I would love it not to be this case, PSVR 2 is just a peripheral for them. It's like the iToy. It's an extension of their gaming library. It's something else they can offer if you want it. But that's why we don't get game trailers in their state of plays for VR. You might get one or two, like we did last time. I think we got like Resident Evil 4, because they know like that's a great crossover. That's the game where someone is sitting there loving their PlayStation and goes, "Oh shit, I love that game. I can play that in VR." That's what they want to happen. That's what happened with Resident Evil 7. But yeah, their main consumer isn't VR.
I honestly cannot get in the head of PlayStation or Sony and figure out what their mindset is for PlayStation VR 2. Like, I don't get it. Like, it is a peripheral, but they put millions and millions of dollars into making this headset. You know, it was a big part of what they did this past year. I mean, this is a big investment for them, and they really have not supported it in any way. Like, it's like they did it, and then they in mid campaign, they're like, more, let's move on to something else.
That's why I believe they're waiting for this.
It just feels that way.
That's why
To me, they're looking like, to me, they're looking like they just trying to cover all the bases in case something explodes. You know, like the handheld thing. You got the Portal, the wireless earbuds, VR that explodes. We got that, the Pro. So to me, it's just like this. You know, they're casting a wide web. They don't seem to be focused on any one thing. It just seems like they're just trying to throw that dragnet out there and, you know, and bring everything in.
Yeah. Johnny No Pockets, the Boo Flat Game Cat. The Game Cats have the longest names in the world. I'm really surprised we haven't had some Christmas games announced for PSVR. Dude, when I was talking about what I was saying, that's exactly it. Like, at what point do you go, yeah, this is coming for Christmas? Because at this point, I'm wrong in my hopes. At this point, I can't actually, there's no proof of me going, yeah, I'm sure we're going to get some great games. I don't know what, there is great games coming, but we're talking about games that are big in flat gaming that are coming to VR. And I think that's why people want PlayStation. They love PlayStation IPs, brands, and they want to get into those worlds in virtual reality. I still remember playing The Last Guardian in VR. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I'd love to play Shadow of Colossus in VR. There's so many great games on that system. So it's hard. It's just, you know, it's kind of like, I really thought, I've seen comments about hybrid as well. I've never really spoken about hybrid because I never wanted to try and encourage something that I had no way of actually saying was definitely going to happen. I'm sure there was a meeting once or a video or a clip where this guy was like, yeah, hybrid titles. and then it just I don't know what happened to it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to see a state of play, a VR state of play for holiday stuff like soon. Like something needs to be announced because I don't know, like unless they're just going to keep just shadow dropping everything like they did Wingman. I mean,
Oh, it's a
literally,
nightmare, dude.
Wow.
I just don't know, like when, like it's October 11th.
But the problem with that shadow dropping, right, is that when you do that, at the moment you've got a thirsty community. They are thirsty for content, yeah. And Project Wingman on PCVR, if you suddenly I saw a spike in views for my old video, like major, like suddenly, because and if they saw that video, and they went and bought Wingman on PSVR 2, thinking that's what they're going to get,
Oh my god,
that's not good either. Do you know what I mean? I was almost thinking about just taking the video down.
I was going to say, did you think about taking the
I
video
did, yeah,
down?
because
That's
the
terrible.
last thing I want is people going, this game looks fucking wicked. I'm definitely going to get it. And so, yeah, that's why as soon as I saw I had a key, someone actually told me about Project Wingman again, shadow dropped it, didn't know anything about it, got someone in Discord. GT, you're reviewing Project Wingman? I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Went into the emails and you're like, boom, oh my God, got in there. 3 hours later, I just done what I normally do, sat in front of the camera and just told it as it is. And it was another thing of like another blow, like another one. And that's the problem. Like pre-ordering at the moment, people are scared to pre-order games.
You can't almost right now because there's no game that launches without a problem anymore.
That's
man.
the best thing. I love pre-ordering. I used to love pre-ordering games. Like
this was never a thing, and probably because most things were hard disk or cartridge. If you go way back, there was no patches.
Lincoln,
that's what it was.
What was before cartridges? Since you're the oldest person here, was there anything? I don't know. Probably not. Tape.
The
cartridge.
first video game
Tapes!
console.
Yeah, I had a cassette tape one. I had a Casio computer with played cassette tapes.
Yeah.
As far as video games goes, the first video game I ever played was in 1977. There was a thing called Telstar, and it had the two dials where you make the white hash go up and down and bounce the ball back across. That was supposed to be tennis.
My nan had that. Did it have like little like switches for you to change the game, but it always looked like the same game?
It had that switch where you
my nan had
from
that.
From tennis to hockey to handball. But all it did was reposition the white hashes that you used to scroll up and down the screen.
I remember that. It was made of like plastic and wood or something. Yeah, I kind of remember that. That's crazy.
Well, we didn't ask.
I remember in my day.
Yeah, I just suddenly came home and it was sitting under the TV.
Lincoln Clay's video is almost black and white anyway, so it's almost like he's talking from the past. Like, I was going to try and up the color gradient and I couldn't, and I was like, oh man.
That's I don't know what the deal is. Maybe it's this Walmart cam that I got, but it's a 1440p webcam.
You can go to properties if you just right click off. There's probably a program out there. I have to mess around my camera every day.
Yeah, but see, that's what separates people like you from people like me, because I'm plug and play. I don't like digging up under the hood.
Plug and play. I love it, mate.
I will say, if we're going to talk retro for a minute, I am close to Lincoln's age, a little close, not that quite there yet, but I'm close. Artful in chat is got me right on, but I started gaming when gaming came out, like actual computer gaming. 1972, I was born. I started gaming on a Commodore 64, Atari 2600, Casio. This was when the gaming started, and we always wax poetic about retro gaming and how amazing it was. In my lifetime, I am now doing things in virtual reality that I never thought would be possible.
Yeah.
Like the people and the younger people of today, which I don't want to sound like a fucking old man, but the younger people of today don't understand that
Brad.
It's still in my lifetime. Like we're sitting here criticizing small things, and we have to because it's part of what we do. But if you seriously think about where we have come technology-wise, in my lifetime playing Pong on a machine in my living room on a black and white television with an RF cable, and then now I am putting a headset on where in mixed reality, I have something coming through the roof of my own home and jumping into my own reality from virtual reality. That is where we see the biggest jumps, and that is where people have to look at this in perspective and take a step back, because this is truly amazing what we're seeing right here. And what we will see in the next 10 to 15 years, what my daughter will be playing when she's 25, 30, those are the things that have to get you excited about virtual reality. And in this phase of maybe where we're having a little bit of a downtime, keep yourselves like look for the future. I mean, it's going to get so much better than where we are right now. So I don't want anybody to be like doom and gloom. I mean, we just had this brand new headset that came out yesterday.
Yeah.
That's going to blow a lot of people away, man. And you know, can you imagine putting, you know, a 60, 70, 80, 90-year-old in this headset now and showing them mixed reality? It really truly is amazing.
I did it. I go a little bit further back where we played cops and robbers, and I had a stick for a gun hiding behind a tree. And that's why I'm so cliche-ish about VR making dreams come true.
Yeah.
My father was a hardcore Star Trek guy, and his health had deteriorated over the years. I put a headset on his head and showed him Star Trek Bridge Crew. And I was in tears just watching him look at the Enterprise and stuff, because if VR would have been around back during his time, I don't think you would have been able to pull him off that Enterprise.
I played Bridge Crew for a solid year before I started YouTube because I loved it so much. Like, everyone was like, why didn't you start a channel before? Because I had PSVR 2 right from the get-go, and I actually played it 6 months before release. But I never even thought about YouTube, obviously. No, not normal people don't think, oh, I'll start a YouTube channel, I don't think. But yeah, like Bridge Crew, it was every free moment. Because I think one of the most amazing things was for me was actually talking to people in VR as well. Same as it was when I first played Xbox Live. I was like, dude, I'm sitting here, we're moving our fingers around, we're fucking messing around with our fingers and shit, picking each other's noses or whatever you're doing. It was just insane. You know, it's so good.
That game, I think, is in terms of VR, that game was ahead of its time.
Oh, dude.
Because, you know, you look at someone and you're talking to them, and their eyes are looking directly at you, like they're, you know, talking directly to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game was just way ahead of its time. I didn't play it as much as I wanted to because I didn't want to be the reason the ship got destroyed. I got caught in the pickle a couple of times where the engines were damaged and I couldn't get them repaired in time. And people was hollering, I need power to the phasers, I need power to the shields, and I'm moving stuff all over the place. So, yeah, I didn't want to be the reason we got destroyed, so I didn't play it as much as I'd like to. But that being said, shout out to Ubisoft for not shutting that game down yet.
Yeah. I think they tried, didn't they? Or they mentioned it, and then I think there's still.
I think eventually it's gonna come. You should go try From Other Suns, man. If you're a Star Trek Bridge Crew fan, go play it's a Rift game called From Other Suns, and it is absolutely incredible. It's basically Bridge Crew, but you actually get to like leave the ship and go on missions and board other ships, and it's so cool.
So these sci-fi games, the game that, like, again, using that cliche about dreams coming true, Star Wars Squadrons made that dream come true. First Star Wars movie came out in 1977. I was 10 years old, and that's all I ever dreamed about was like being an X-wing pilot.
Yeah.
You know, and when my cousins had the Kenner toys, I would go and grab their X-wings, running all over the yard, holding that X-wing up like I'm a pilot. And so, not Bridge Crew, but Star Wars Squadron. Yeah, that was another dream that came true along with sim racing. But I will say that with sim racing, I never thought I would get to a point where it went from being a dream to damn near slamming the headset on the ground when I go off the track and get into a wreck.
Oh man. Thank you. Mickey Bird, drop in the game codes. Thank you ever so much. Retro Rob. There's someone I'd like to talk to. With the $2 donation, he says, great content, fellas. Thank you ever so much. Do you know what I did yesterday for my little bit of downtime? I went back into MUVR, which I swear I could actually start a whole channel on because I love it so much. I got my GameCube in there and I was playing F-Zero GX, Super Mario Sunshine, Spy Hunter, and Brad.
Love Spy Hunter.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, you know, imagine VR AR becomes this multi-purpose, not just VR games only. Like, Have you guys ever thought about that? Like, could you imagine yourself where your channel just evolves to just like a regular tech or entertainment channel that you just happen to do in VR at this point? Because your thing about emu VR really like kind of hit that on the head for me, because I do think a lot of us one day will be doing a lot of stuff like that a lot more, because the technology will be there and it'll be
Yeah.
way more approachable for people to also see themselves doing those things. So and yeah, I just wanted to make that quick comment.
That's
Well,
perfect.
if
Hell
you want
yeah.
me to add to that, I think with these avatars in the metaverse that Zuck wants to do, along with those avatars that we saw at the Meta Connect, I think we are headed for the next wave or the next era of catfishing. There are going to be some people that are not cute, but they're going to make themselves be cute in VR.
We're there now, man. I can't. You can't
Hey,
go
I
online
might
and
do it
trust
too, because I
anybody.
already know I'm ugly as hell, so I might, make myself cute with one of these avatars.
Oh my god! I remember going into VR chat, and I remember meeting someone, and I followed them into like a pole dance place, and then they told me to follow them without talking to it looked like a hotel or something. We went into this place, we went into a room, and then they started washing me.
What?
Yeah, like simulate washing me. They turned the shower on. And they were doing this, and I was like, "Yeah, fuck that." I took the headset off. I was like,
Wait, hold on. At what point did you?
"It was for
You were in the
science.
hotel room.
It was for science."
It was for science.
Yeah,
That's what I tell my wife every time I go to the strip club. It's for science. I swear.
it's for research. Yeah, it was really weird.
Oh man.
And yeah, you're right.
You know-
It could have been Lincoln doing it.
No,
All right.
speaking of strip clubs, I got to tell you guys a story. I got to
Okay.
tell you guys a story where GT, in my opinion, he gave me a choice. Either I throw you under the bus or you run out in the street and get hit by the bus. So Steam puts too much of your business out in the street. It tells
It does, yeah.
everything that your friends are doing. So there's this YouTuber named Mr. 4K Upscaler. He dives into VR every now and then. And he was showing this adult game called VR Paradise, where he was in a strip club and there was women dancing topless in there. And I was like, it was the first time I had ever heard or seen of an adult game in VR.
Wow.
So I went into Steam, and the stuff that I saw, oh my God.
You got to check it now. It's worth. It's so.
Oh my God,
some
yeah,
of
and
it,
your Quest 3.
Like there was no way. It's like some of that stuff, But the VR Paradise is a free to play at the time.
Yeah.
So I did download it to go have a look in there. And there was women dancing, and then you could pay microtransactions for the private dance to go behind the curtains and get a more focused type dance. Well, I was still a member of the VR link when this happened. So that following Sunday, GT comes out of nowhere. And so, has anybody heard of this game called VR Paradise?
Oh no.
And I just dropped my head. And I was like, he saw it. He must have seen that I downloaded that game. So I said, I'm thinking to myself, you got one of two choices. You can lie about it, and then he pulls up a screenshot and like, hey, it looks like you checked it out. Or I can just step up and admit that I saw it. So I put my hands up and like, yeah, guilty as charged. I've seen it. And that's actually a good thing actually came out of it, because that's what Ham was heckling me about for like the past year after that. Because he was always coming to the VR link heckling me about it. He was heckling me about it on Twitter. He would come into the chats of my own streams heckling me about it. I was like, damn it, won't this dude leave me alone? But who would have thought, me and him were like best friends now.
And do you meet in the strip club now?
He's heading there after the
Do
show.
you take turns being the
I
stripper?
did tell him that story though, how I felt like you gave me a choice. Either I throw you under the bus or you run out in the street.
I reckon Brad's seen some dodgy shit, mate.
Yeah.
I reckon Brad's seen some proper like.
Brad, you never followed anybody into a hotel room and let them shower you, did you?
Yeah, Brad, talk to us.
Not this week.
Hey.
He's gonna do that in that big fancy Vario XR3 headset.
Yeah.
Hey, you can put the shower in your real life room and have a shower with someone virtually. It's next level.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't know where to go from there.
I've never seen GT so stumped.
I'm like, what do I say? I don't know. I just won't talk. It's all I've got left. But yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. So yeah, just quickly, I guess to wrap up with Quest 3, how are you feeling about it? Would you recommend it as a purchase? Has it kind of delivered, I guess, on what it was meant to do so far? You know, is it worth the money, I guess, is the biggest question, really.
Hands down, because not only are we going to get much better looking games from the Quest 3, I can't wait to see what Dr. Beef is going to do with this, because we are going to get so many, like, we don't have to wait for Sony or anybody else with some of these flat screen games, or as hybrid as Sony likes to call them, because I think they might be currently working on Quake 4, and I cannot wait to play that. They already mentioned a few other things that they're working on with Quest 3, but that was one of the reasons why I got the Quest 3, was because of Dr. Beef. Because I tried the Doom 3 on the Quest, and I was really impressed with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I try and tell people that all the time, you know, like you can right now play Half-Life on there, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Doom 3, Quake 3 online in VR, which is fucking...
Is the online still alive?
Yeah, as far as I know, you actually use the normal servers. You play with flat people.
That game came out in 1997, at least on the Dreamcast it did.
I wonder if Brad was alive then. I don't know.
I love the Dreamcast.
But yeah,
how old are you, Mr. Bradley?
Oh,
29. Dreamcast was my first console.
Yeah, boy. What a great console. I love it.
One of the first consoles I actually waited in line. I remember waiting in line to get it. It was so big.
What the fuck happened to that though?
They just didn't. It was a little ahead of its time, and they just didn't support it enough.
Way ahead of its time. I created my first dating profile on the Dreamcast.
How? What? What are you talking about?
Because I was using the browser. And this was when dating websites was in its infancy, because the Dreamcast had a separate browser disk.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. I remember Lincoln Clay painting the image. We got strip clubs. We got dating.
What's going on here?
And he's got some cash. He's got $15,000 in that room. You know, he's loaded. If you're interested,
it's more than that when you factor in how much stuff I've done for my son. When I bought his PC, I probably bought him 4 headsets, a Valve Index, Rift S, Quest 2, HTC Vive. So
your son did Gears of War, didn't he, for VR chat?
They have a Gears of War Discord where they do the Gears of War PvP, and they've got about 400 members in their Discord.
Wow.
And they do events every week. So for those who are listening, my son, he extracts the maps and the avatars from the Gears of War game, and he has created a Gears of War PvP where you can play Gears of War PvP in VR, and everything works. He's made the frag grenades work, the Hammer of Dawn. He's made that work. The long shot, all that stuff. He's made all that stuff work, and that is one of the reasons why I bought a second Quest Pro, because I wanted him to make the Marcus Phoenix with the face and eye tracking support.
Gears of War is one of my all-time favorite game series.
Have you not seen it in VR though? Because I
haven't.
I did a video with Lincoln and his son, didn't I? It must have been a year ago now.
Yeah, I invited GT to come along and try the Gears of War PvP with us. And he was sick at the time. You know, I posted the clip to Twitter, and him and my son was talking, and he threw his arm around my son in VR. It was a really cool moment.
Yeah, it was. That was good.
Love it. I would love that. That's one series I would love it if they brought it in.
The Triangulator, talking about Soul Calibur.
He's made it crossplay, so it's both Quest and PC. It all works.
You're fucking joking.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Jump in there. So the only thing that's missing with his PvP is that when he shoots, that works too.
Okay.
And you know, when you rev the chainsaw, he fixed it where there's blood and guts squirting out. So when you go to kill someone, it looks just like the game. The only thing
Beautiful.
that happens is that the person drops, the body drops. So there's no, when you kill someone,
Yeah,
the
cut
body
in
just
half.
drops.
Yeah.
Something else that I was going to say about his
Yeah, I'm sorry.
PvP that I totally forgot. But yeah,
You were talking about Quest 3, talking about crossplay.
yeah, he made it all crossplay. I think that's what I was going to say. The only two problems with it is when you shoot someone, the body just drops. It doesn't explode into a bunch of pieces, and there's no score keeping. So basically, what happens is they get together, they take sides, they have a little discussion before they explain the rules, and then they all get out there. So on any given day, I think one time I went into one of their PvP sessions, and there was like 10 locusts against 10 cogs.
That's so cool.
So yeah, it is free, and so anyone can just go in there. And he created a lobby, so you can go in there, and he's got all the different characters posted on there, like and you just
Baird.
click on
Baird's
it.
my favorite.
Yeah, you click on it and become that character.
Baird.
That would be sick.
So yeah, he was also working on some modern warfare stuff, because he made a PvP out of that. And I think right now he's working on extracting some Mortal Kombat stuff.
Wow.
Brad, you're not gaming much anymore, but what's your all-time favorite like game series? Like I said, Gears of War is one of my favorites. Like what's your go-to if you could just like, this is my favorite of all time?
Probably Halo, to be honest.
Really? Like the multiplayer or the campaign?
I liked both. Up until like Reach, I really liked it. Actually, I'll like once in a while I always go back to the Master Chief Collection and just play them again. I really do.
I think the new one was really good.
Was it good?
I haven't played it yet.
Online was absolute. Out of all the others, it was the original Halo. I loved online. Like Halo 2 was the one that I played so much. And I like the leveling system, which you don't see very often, where it's dynamic. Like your true leveling system is your performance. If you get to like level 11 and you lose some matches, you go down. If you win, you go up. So you kind of eventually round out to a certain level. And the good thing about that is when you get into a match, it's fucking close matches, because that means everyone is pretty much on the same level. And it was very popular, so you didn't have a problem about matching up with people. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. But the new Halo, Brad, check it. Honestly, out of all the others, absolutely amazing. I do miss playing it actually, but haven't got time now. VR's blowing up again.
Yeah, for me, the franchise that I probably liked before I got into VR probably would have to be Rainbow Six, before they went the Fortnite route with all these fluorescent colors and people running around in bikinis and all this kind of stuff. I mean, even Call of Duty's gone that route when they throw Nicki Minaj and Kevin Garnett on the game.
Oh no,
I mean,
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, they've gone straight Fortnite. I mean, that's so Breachers couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, for sure. I want to see Breaches on PSVR too. I think the community would absolutely go crazy for that.
I thought it was supposed to be coming.
They haven't officially announced anything, Lincoln. So let's hope that is happening. But yeah, I think after the firewall thing, I think they deserve a really good game, and
absolutely,
that could be absolutely amazing. So yeah, guys, I think we've had I mean, this was literally planned 10 minutes before. Everyone has suddenly got very busy. Brad slept for a whole day. So yeah, like no one was answering my messages. Lincoln kindly dropped his own live stream to be here. So yeah, and Derail Power Stone still is my jam, mate. I play it all the time on my Dreamcast on my Vita. So an emulator on there. So
can I get final thought? Can I get not thoughts, but final yay nay? Tell everybody go buy Quest 3.
Yeah, we need that. Yeah? We need that.
Yeah, Brad, Quest 3. Tell everybody go buy it. What do you think? Are you like way behind it?
It's probably the only Quest standalone I've liked week one.
Okay, that's huge for you. That's basically you telling everybody.
Yeah.
You said something really good about a Meta Quest, a Meta headset. That's huge.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's kind of weird. But definitely get a new strap.
Yeah.
Yes. Get a new strap. GT tried to fight me on this. This strap sucks ass, by the way. Like there was creators that were like, yeah, you know what? This head strap is way better than the first one. And I tried it on at Connect, and I'm
I
like,
think it is. I
this
don't
thing's
really have a problem with it.
shit. This thing's terrible, man. It's the same shitty jock strap as the same. I get about half an hour into this thing. I'm like, this thing's so uncomfortable. Nobody's keeping this thing. They're like, don't go get this. Don't, because you're not gonna keep it. I promise you. These colored things are cool, man. Like I orange one, a blue one. You'd be like, oh, cool, man. You're not going to use this. I promise you. Don't buy it.
Lincoln, what do you think of the strap?
I'm okay with it. I mean, the biggest problem that I had with the Quest 2 strap is that it sat right on my ear, so it felt like it was digging right into my ears.
Yeah.
This strap isn't touching my ear, so I'm okay with it. But before all is said and done, my Bobo headset straps that's on my Quest 2s, I'll probably end up buying that conversion kit.
Yeah, I can't wait, dude. Like, well, I say I can't wait. I fucking done it. I made a video on it, and I'm not going back. You know, for sure. So
But I think, but final thoughts on Quest 3. I think PCVR on the go has arrived.
yeah,
Cool.
there
Love
you
it.
go. There you go.
Agreed.
It's a big statement. It's a big statement. Eric, you know who else likes a jockstrap?
My mom.
Fucking hell, Lincoln.
Nice, Lincoln.
Wow. Root to
That
be
was-
jealous of that one.
Hell yeah, very nice.
We don't
Yeah,
need
she
brutes
does.
anymore.
I'll give a root.
I
Yeah, she
hear
does.
that in my
Yeah, she
sleep. I
does.
sit there and watch virtual strangers like, what can I say? What can I say to get them to do to my mom thing?
That's awesome. Because interestingly enough, a developer watched this podcast and he was like, such a great podcast, dude, but you don't need to do the mum jokes. I was like, it's kind of
He
out.
doesn't-
It's out of my
he doesn't
hands.
get it.
It's out of my
He
hands.
doesn't get it.
It's just out of
He
my
doesn't
hands.
get it. He just doesn't get it.
It's out of my hands. It's out there now. It's got its own legs, you know. It's, to stop it now would be to fight it. But guys, VR Sprite guys, says someone needs to record that clip. I might
Agreed.
record that clip. Sorry, Lincoln. Do you mind if I take that clip?
You need it.
Why not? You did it before.
I did it for Salsa.
The VR link. Remember when you had me do the con impression on
Oh
the VR link?
yeah, that's right. God.
And I said, con! Con!
Holy shit.
No, I mean that literally you are transported straight away back to
The
Kirk.
good old days.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Crazy. That had to damage your mic and everyone's ears. But thank you ever so much, everyone, for being here. Lincoln, thank you ever so much for joining us, mate. It's really good to speak to you again.
It was
And,
my pleasure.
It was awesome. Eric, thank you ever so much for jumping in. As always, dude, I know you're super busy, so I really appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Anytime.
And Happy Bradley, thank you, dude, for being here. As always, dropping the amazing tech views on everything. Really appreciate your feedback as
Yeah,
always.
saying shit that flew over my head. But yeah, I think I learned something. I probably learned about 10% of what he was saying.
Mate, if you learn 10%,
No, but no,
you're doing well.
I do check Bradley out for a lot of tech stuff though.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Absolutely. I have I was just thinking, Brad, I might try and get an outro. I might try. Have you got the magic carpet thing I made still from the Neverending Story? Did I send that to you as a clip?
Let me see if I still have it.
Would I
hope
get
do.
copyrighted for that? Oh, I would, wouldn't I? Did
Wait,
you
what?
you used it for an intro once?
Oh yeah, I used it. It didn't matter. It just copyrighted the trailer, not the stream. So
So you
Yeah,
yeah. So I had I found a picture of Brad and I put him on a magic carpet because he had like this wonderful face of wonder. He was like looking up at night. I don't know what he's looking at. You was on a boat actually, Brad. What were you looking at? You was on like a gondola or something.
oh yeah, I was in Amsterdam and we were in like a river thing on like kind of like a gondola. Yeah.
Yeah. And he
I was
had,
in nature. It was scary.
that's it. He looked very like, wow, this is amazing. Never been outside before. And I was like, right, I'm gonna put some Never-Ending Story music to it.
I need to find that one. Is so freaking good.
I
Like,
loved
holy
it.
frick.
It's a
It's so
very
good.
special moment. But Paradise says he has it.
Thank God.
Nice.
God bless.
Nice. Listen, guys, thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. I'm sorry it's always a bit last minute, but we do try and come through as much as possible. And we will see you all hopefully next week. Are we good for next week? Do we know what day it is next week? Like, Are we good? Are we doing this next week?
Yeah,
I
why
think
not?
so,
Monday.
if it's
Let's get back to
Monday,
Monday.
yeah.
Let's go back to
it, man.
Monday.
Let's get the whole crew here. Steve was in chat. He had to work, but
Yeah.
he was in chat for a little while saying hi to everybody.
Aren't you his boss, Eric?
No.
Oh, that's fine.
No, we're partners.
Oh, good. Okay. Maybe you should have done
but
half a show each.
But he drew those short straws, so he had to work today.
Hey. Love it. Right. Thank you ever so much, guys. Take care. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.